Matt Wagner's first comic book endeavor was Grendel, first published in 1982 as a 9-page story within the anthology from Comico or Kaneko Comics, called Comico Primer 2. I always called it Comico, but I've seen on YouTube other people seem to be calling it Kujifo. I'm not sure which one's accurate, but to me it always seemed like it looked like comics, so I said Comico. Initially, Grendel appeared in black and white and showed a more comic rendition of hunterrose in a more conventional comic book layout in paneling and narrative. The poses and perspective showed massive improvement as Matt Wagner's career progressed, as did his layouts, borrowing from Art Deco style, translating into layouts and presentation. Combining Deco's portraiture style with a cinematic narrative, Wagner revisited Grendel later on to polish it up brilliantly in black and white and red, and then eventually into full-blown color. Much like his nuanced palette in color, his portrayal of Grendel grew to a suave, graceful assassin, prone to flourish in dramatic stances. And just as I grew to love Wagner's final form with Grendel, the artistry gets passed on to new artists, translating this character not only in aesthetics, but also transforming the narrative by allowing other writers to expand on this character and lore. I would be remiss if I couldn't convince you to at least track down and read Wagner's Batman and Grendel miniseries, a true gem in my collection. The beauty of Grendel by Matt Wagner is that it's not a person, it's a journey, maybe even an archetypal journey of the dark side of humanity. But every journey has a beginning, and that beginning here is with hunterrose. That is who LooseCollector has manifested in this 6-inch 1/12 scale action figure that feels very familiar in a Marvel Legends kind of way. That too makes it insidiously delightful to insert him into our classic world of Batman and Daredevil and so on. The packaging is somewhat simple with a nice window showing the figure inside along with his accessories, and the outside is adorned with Matt Wagner's beautiful comic illustrations, and the interior is brilliantly splattered with blood. Unfortunately, one of his tassels broke off in the package, which was a concern of mine when I first found the figure. I always thought the connection clank was small, and given enough stress, apparently it can break off. For accessories, he's got 4 pairs of hands, an unmasked head, a fork, and a stand base with a peg. For hands, he's got squared out pans, and a pair of relaxed hands, and a pair of weapon holding hands, with the hole in the nail for the wielding the fork. Let's go over his articulation. So his head and neck articulate separately. He can look up that high, and his back can also move, but let me show you how it's connected. There's a double barbell peg, and his neck also articulates, but in rotating and tilting a bit. Putting all that together, you get a pretty expressive head. He can tilt really great, but just be careful of his hassles. His arms can have depth this high. Basically a T-pose. Does not have a butterfly joint, but he does have a bicep swivel. And his wrist is like the Marvel Legends, so it's got a horizontal hinge and it can rotate. His arms can really hang naturally down by his side, which is great. Not all Marvel Legends can do that. He has no drop down legs. His arms can rotate all the way around. He can do the splits, and he can kick that high. He's that die swivel, bid swivel, and like Marvel Legends, he has a hinge and pretty good ankle rocker. Double hinged knees, putting all that together with his diaphragm and braced joint. He can articulate really well, and he's pretty expressive. He can achieve some of those flourished stances that you can see in the comics, and he's really good at posing. If only all Marvel Legends could pose like this, the Marvel Legends community would be very happy. Posing him was a lot of fun. The joints are definitely firm. They're not stuck, but they're definitely not loose and doesn't feel gummy like some Marvel Legends. The diaphragm and waist joint really help him achieve these athletic martial arts poses. Like the recent Daredevil from the comic book wave is all black in loose-fitting clothes, but I just hate this looks so much better. Like that Daredevil is so bulky, and this Grendel is slim and but still captures the feeling of fabric. His Tarzan can rotate all the way around, as you can see, and by diaphragm, that diaphragm joint really, there's a great posability. Look at that. It just comes so natural. As an adult, Hunter Rose became a celebrated novelist, hobnobbing by day and by night writing a criminal underworld. As a kind boss, Hunter adopted an orphaned little girl named Stacy, thereby painting his public image as a philanthropic socialite. Grendel will fit right in with Marvel Legends, so if your collection is 1/12, he'll probably scale well. Here he is with Mafex Deadpool and Marvel Legends Nightcrawler, both sporting their X-Force costumes. And here he is with Marvel Legends Archangel and Mess Toys Black Seat Neighbor. And here he is with my Marvel Legends Custom Domino and Kingpin. And here he is with Rage Toys Spring Turtle and Fury Toys Letter & Williams. Here's some head swaps with that Mess Toys body and a blank Romanke and Cal body. Here's that symbiotic Spidey head on Grendel's body, which looks kinda killer. I kinda have the fantasy of using the Romanke blank body to make a Grendel Prime. But, like I said, fantasy. But that Romanke body can articulate so much better. The brilliance of Grendel lies in its exploration of power, aggression, and violence, taking this further into a metaphorical evolution, into a force, then into an infection, to a societal corruption. Grendel isn't a person, but rather a journey into the darker sides of humanity. That it starts with a story seemingly modeled after a character that comes from another Gotham. That's the sly hook. Please consider liking and subscribing. Thank you for watching to the end.